Hello, welcome to Studio Talks. My name is James Swift.
I'm Josh McNorton, and our guest today is
Ryan Burns.
Hey Ryan, you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
How are you doing in the lockdown? And what advice would you give to people?
I'm doing good. To be fair, I have a few different things I use to deal with lockdown. So, number one, which is the main thing that my parents hate, is I enjoy sleeping a lot and just getting lost in my own mind. It's a very good way that I used to just deal with it, because up there, anything's possible.
I've started avoiding sleep because on a daily basis, I get sleep paralysis to the point where I don't even know if it's in my dream or not, or whether it's real life. So I try to avoid sleeping. So that's bad.
So,
bit spooky.
So, with me, it's not so much a case of sleep. Well, I do love sleeping. To be fair, my sleep schedule has been thrown out the window. I just stay awake to whenever and then pass out. But no, a lot of the time, even when I'm awake, I'll just go into a sort of like a semi sort of trance where you just sort of sit there, you relax, and you just start letting your mind wander. So you're not technically asleep because you're still fully awake. You can snap yourself out of it, so it wouldn't take on sleep paralysis. But it just allows you to sort of it's not lucid dreaming because you're not even asleep technically with it. You're just sort of, I dare say, meditating, but without the whole spiritual meditating side of it. You're just thinking, you're in deep thought.
I tried meditation once and it was incredibly helpful.
I tried meditation once and all I had was people screaming around me, and I vowed never to do it again because it just wasn't helping. I was like, relax. I hate these people around me. And I just stopped.
So you do meditation on your own in your own room. I used to wake up 10 minutes. I wake up and then for 10 minutes I'd meditate and then go and get on with my day. I don't do it as much anymore because I've got nothing to wake up for. You know what I mean?
I used to do in my first year of uni where I got like incredibly stressed. I did half an hour of meditation a day where it was 15 minutes at the beginning, 15 minutes at the night. And that was nice. I don't know why I've stopped doing that. I think it's because I'm not at the flat anymore. I like this game where we start sentences with "I tried meditation, but," and then we just tell a story.
It's one of those, the best stories start with "I tried meditation once, but," and it just leads to these crazy happenings. It's one of those. It's something that people do swear by, and it is something that can help. For me personally, it just never really worked. I just couldn't clear my head. Being as active as I am, I just have too much to do, which also segues me onto another thing that I do to help leave the lockdown. I spend a lot of time with other people in voice calls or video calls sometimes.
That's cool. Just
because it helps, give you something to do. Like, it takes your mind off the whole fact that, yes, you're stuck in your room, stuck in your house, you can't really go out and do much. By having those conversations and connecting with other people, we'd either just talking or playing games. It's just having that social connection with other people, and that really does help.
That's brilliant. That's awesome. I know we say this a lot, but like, I know that this podcast in general does exactly that, where I'll be in the house and I'll be like, I fancy talking to someone, and I'll set up a podcast.
And he just messaged me like on the days like, I've got a podcast today.
Yeah, so a lot of my time, my mantra that I keep saying is, I finish a conversation with someone and like, I'm gonna go and find someone else to go and bother for the next hour or so, and that's literally it. I'll just go and quote unquote bother them for an hour. That's become my official duty in life, is to just bother people, to become a nuisance and an irritation for people on a daily basis. That it's not a case of like, is he going to drop in? It's more a case of, when is he going to drop in? And that's just become my life now.
Seems fair. How did you get involved in the studio?
So that takes me back quite a long time. So I got involved in the studio by taking part in a Battle of the Bands that was ran alongside the studio and another company. So I've been playing music in our school band, just bits and pieces here or there. Every once in a while we do like a quick jam session. We had scheduled lessons, but sometimes people didn't turn up. We ended up getting entered into this Battle of the Bands. The first time we even heard about it was when we were doing this. So I turn up and basically be told, hey, instead of playing guitar, you're not going to be playing bass, because our bassist decided not to turn up. I literally got told, here you go, here's a bass to start practicing. It's one of the studios ones. You may want to spend some time in one of the practice rooms learning these songs on bass. Completely songs that I had to relearn on the bass. I think I had like 3.5 hours worth of practice before we were set to go on stage. I had to learn 2 songs in that time. I'm like, oh dear God. So after that, I kept coming back because I like the ambient area. You know, a lot of good people, and just started getting more and more involved because music was, and it, to a degree, it still is a big part of my life. I spend a lot of time listening to music. Even now, I still listen to music almost all the time when I'm doing stuff. It's that love of music that sort of got me interested in going to the studio, because everyone who either worked there or went there all had that same passion for music. Be it creating it, be it listening to it, be helping with it on a more technical side, such as lighting or sound, or even just in like recording and like helping people make the songs. Everyone had that same drive to help create stuff. So it got me interested in there, and I just turned up. But once again, out of the blue, like, hey, I'm here to bother you again. And so I started learning bass more because one of the resident bass people who was there when I started going, Pete Muldoon, who's also one of the radio presenters at Holland Community Radio. Me and him formed a great bond at start because of our love of bass, our love of the same music, and our love of Call of Duty Zombies, of all things.
What
to the
was
point,
the Belfast back in the day?
But it was one of those. It was a very chill thing, and he helped me improve my skills with the bass. I got introduced to more people who still currently are there, who taught me more invaluable things, like how to actually record properly, how to actually do stage production, which helped me further on when I went to go to college, and I actually did music technology and passed it because it was to do with stuff like how to record, how to do live audio for a band. Because I was doing that in college, being involved in the studio was a very helpful thing.
I find it interesting that you say about you learnt bass there, because I genuinely always thought that you just knew bass and you turned up as a bassist.
No, I literally got told, here's a bass. You may want to start practicing.
Right, okay.
I was originally rhythm guitar. So I actually played in... It was our school production. We literally got roped into it. I was so nervous on the first time that I only had an acoustic guitar. And they're like, okay, do you want us to put like a little contact mic on it so we can pick you up? I'm like, nah, I'm fine. They can just see me there. I don't have to do anything. The time we went on the actual Battle of the Bands was my second time on stage. I literally got told 3.5 hours earlier, like practice time earlier, hey, you got to learn a new instrument. Deal with it.
Sounds like it's been very stressful.
It was.
Trying to learn a new instrument in 3 hours.
How was Access All Areas, and how did it affect you in your life?
Access All Areas was great because, like I said, it helped promote a community for like-minded individuals like myself, like Hughes, and it just helped get people together because it was all about the music. It was all about getting bands in to practice, to get community. It was generally one of those things where you just turn up. Is there a room free? Yeah, okay, we'll go and jam in there for a bit during breaks. They come out, they socialise. Like that's how you sort of got to learn to know people. It's like if you were lucky enough to both take breaks at the same time, you both come out like, oh hey, how are you? How is your stuff going? Such and such, and then you just make contact with those people.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I started out the recording and then instantly I went there on a weekend just to hang out. Like, I don't think most of the time when I was there, I definitely didn't do any music. I was just like hanging out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it was one of those, like, on one stage you had the people who were there to practice hardcore because it had the practice areas. And you had other people who were there, like you said, for the community side, for the, hey, I'm here to socialise and also get to know cool people in the music industry that live in our area. And that was one of the things that I did. Because while I can play guitar and bass, I always still prefer to do the more technical side. It doesn't mean to say that I didn't like learning. Like, I still went to learn bass. I still went to learn how to sing properly do drums, but I also went to learn the more technical side because that always interested me, especially sound and light. And that's how I got involved doing other bits and pieces there because it just interested me. So going there and, like I said, putting the feelers out and socializing with people, especially the staff, it was
definitely.
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was definitely affected me very well because it was one of those, like, getting to know people who are, in your eyes when you're going there, grizzled veterans and professions of their areas. Because Pete Muldoon was a very successful radio presenter. He'd also been in bands before. Same with some of the other staff. They'd all done their own bits and pieces. They're all still doing their bits and pieces. It was learning from those people the interesting bits and pieces, the nuances that they've learnt, and moving on from there, as well as meeting the new people, meeting up with friends, having a great time. It was just, for some people, it was just about the music, just about practicing. For other people, like I said, it was a community, it was a family.
Definitely. Definitely. I think about you specifically, like, I always noticed that about you where, you could play instruments, but I feel like you were very interested in an idea and then building it up from the, I mean, we'll talk about this later, but we've never touched the Faders. It was very much, you said, here's an idea, and then we all just kind of, it was really interesting to watch it build up. I think that,
Yeah, it's something that I still do now. I still actually find an idea and like, hey, I wonder if this idea works. I just start doing it. I'm like, actually, that can work. Let's start building on that.
Definitely.
What inspired you to be in charge of the lighting during Tripoli?
So that's a weird one because originally, like I said, I was interested in lights, but with doing music in college, I was always interested in doing the audio because it plays into each other. You get more experience. It makes it easier during college. The more stuff you learn during college, the more stuff you can try in the live sound area, which I did for a little bit. But at the time, there was only really one main person who dealt with lighting and sounds, and the other one was sort of like dealing with the front side stage. So he'd be dealing with like the microphones, the monitors, the speakers, and all that sort of stuff. So that meant that either they had to deal with something up there or something on the control panel. So you'd have to literally be running around doing that. And then the other person would have to deal with doing both the lights and sounds and have to do it as pre-programmed stuff. Which pre-programmed stuff works. It's just not as good as someone doing it live. I got interested in that. I think I expected him saying, so how exactly does it work? And he showed me how the lighting desk worked. And he's like, I'm honestly better at doing sound than lights. Same with everyone else. They were all more proficient in the sound area than light. And it felt like a spot that I could fill because rather than saying, well, I want to do sound as well, and then everyone be interested in doing sound and no one really be interested in doing the lights, I thought, if I can fit into that, just deal with learning how to do lights, it's a good opportunity because as well as getting my degree, as well as getting that would allow me to do stuff in the actual sound area, but having the hands-on practicality of learning how to do the lighting one would open up worlds for me in lighting areas, such as companies that deal exclusively within lighting and people that deal exclusively within in sound as well, like Adlib Audio, who deal with both sound and lights.
So, talk about projects that we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago. What would you say was the one you enjoyed working on the most at the studio, for example, like the podcast and Never Touch Your Faders?
So projects, there were a few. So there was the lighting sound stuff, which I did. I helped out with a few different recording sessions. The Second Son, which to this day I still hate the intro song.
Yes.
I look back at that and started cringing. I'm like, oh no, I forgot what we did.
Yeah, I was watching it. I got in touch with you because I was watching it. I was like, Ryan would be good on this. I ever think about that show was horrible. I'm sorry, but it really was. Like
it was. To be fair, that was my first rodeo into doing actual podcast stuff. Which, to be fair, it's something that I've improved. Like I said, it's something that even now, it's still miles better. The stuff that I've learned how to do, the stuff that I'm able to handle it, and even dealing with talking is something that's a lot more improved. But I would say that my favourite thing that I did probably was Never Touch the Faders.
I really did like that. It's
one of those fun things, especially when we did the charity one, because I think we only did the one, and it was like during the charity event.
That's the thing that annoys me the most about it, is the fact that like it was something that I know that you put a lot of work into, and it was such a good format. And the fact that we only got one episode was like, oh, this is so much of a shame. For people, would you like to explain what Never Touch the Faders is? Because I've realised we just...
So, Never Touch the Faders is it's a strange one, because it steals essentially the format of Nevermind the Buzzcocks, which was essentially a music quiz show. And we just moved it along so we weren't being told, hey, you can't use that. It's Nevermind the Buzzcocks. You can't use that. So I thought, we'll change the title. And we'll move stuff around. So one of the main things that I found funny for this is we had a little audio desk on the front. And I think one of the first kids said, so, welcome to Never Touch the Faders, where we are now. I mean, we just pulled the fader down until you could barely hear us talking. I was like, so that's why you never touched the faders, and it just went on like nothing happened. And it was one of those tongue-in-cheek things there. It's like we're not doing it fully seriously, even though we are, because it was done serious to a degree, but it was done as a tongue-in-cheek joke, like a reference to Nevermind the Buzzcocks.
Yeah.
Throwing our own take of comedy in. Like watching people's blank faces when I play songs, I'm like, oh no. I've made a horrible mistake in this.
Yeah.
And just watching them, I'm just like, I mustn't laugh when they get the answer wrong. I mustn't laugh. And just laughing anyway. Because it was like it was never meant to be taken seriously in and of itself. Same with Second Son. Second Son was a project. It was the same with it was more of a proof concept, something that we could do. I
would say that both of those would be not so much this is going to happen forever. It's more, I want to prove to myself that this idea I've had can actually exist no matter how long. Like, I always think about that. Like, I am kind of proud of Second Son because of that, because it is very much the first attempt either of us had done at doing that. And like you say, I think that we learn a lot from it.
We learn a lot from it. It was the same as in Never Touch the Faders. I learned a lot from that, especially how to deal with stage fright.
So, where can people find you online, Ryan?
So, I'm very illustrious because I actually don't have that much of an online presence in terms of normal media. I do have a YouTube channel that I am hopefully going to be recording and getting stuff back up onto it. So you can search for Ryang. You can also find me on Twitter. So at Ryang __94.
Cool.
Because people stole Ryan _94 and I hate them for it.
And I'm also I'll put the Second Son podcasts in the below as well. Just because I definitely think it's worth listening to. Because I showed someone the other day because I was like, this is kind of like my first attempt at doing, as we was just saying, like it was my first attempt of trying to do it, and I think that I wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't attempted it beforehand.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of things from that have led me to do a lot of other stuff. So I've done like shoutcasting for matches and games on streams. I've done other bits and pieces, and all of it's led from being intrigued and doing stuff like some of the other stuff you can find on the internet if you search Damaging, search Team Fancy. Some of their shoutcastings done by me and helped out by me, and it's because I've learned all the stuff from doing that podcast that I gained the confidence to actually do it.
Nice. Spot. And thank you for joining us today. This has been absolutely great.
Episode.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
See you later.
I'll see you soon.